Big Sills! Happy Monday to you. The show that always has something to say. And the show always covers the world of sports, which is always prominent. It's never a day, a weekend, where the sports world is not front and center. NBA playoffs have been interesting. Could be the first time, in history that both conference finals have teams that are swept? Incredible. Nuggets look like the best team, and Jimmy effing Butler. Jimmy effing Butler. Wow. Dude, that guy's a gangster. And I mean that with the greatness of just taking your heart. I've never in my entire life seen a basketball player since Jordan that just pulls your heart out of your chest. I mean, like I said, this guy reminds me of a dude that was in that scene, Last of the Mohegans, where that Indian chief just pulls his hand out, puts it into that English general's chest, pulls his heart out, and goes like that. Dude, that's what I saw yesterday. He is a gangster, man. I mean it. That guy just pulls your heart out. And you know what's cool? Because we talk a lot about culture here. You know, Pat Riley, where do you find these guys? Where do you find those guys, those undrafted, I want to play hard. There's just such a great culture with the Miami Heat, man. I guess if you're Pat Riley and you know what you're looking for, it's not that hard to find the guys that fit your culture. Pat Riley looks for one type of dude. And you know what's crazy? Tone, everyone, right? LeBron couldn't handle that. He couldn't handle it for more. Can you imagine if LeBron James had stayed in Miami, how many more championships he would have won? Think about that. No one brings that up. If he'd have stayed in Miami, how many championships do you think LeBron would have now? 6? 7? Pat Riley's not going to go to sleep. There's going to be a culture. But get this. Nobody on the planet brings this up. Nobody brings it up. If he stays in Miami, LeBron James wins 7 and passes Jordan. Then there's nothing for the Jordan lovers to hang their hat on, except maybe the fact that he did lose some finals. If he had stayed in Miami with Pat Riley, they'd have won more championships. LeBron didn't want to stay in that culture, that winning culture. Now look at it. Now you're in an organization now that's overachieving. Hey, and for the record, I'll say this to you too before we move on. How many people think that the conversation that's out there now that there's a market for a James Harden at 4 years, $200 million is crazy? How many people think that's crazy? Well, let me throw this at you here. This is going to sound even nuttier. So LeBron James is going to make basically $47 to $50 million next year at 38. You think the Lakers are going to get any better with him? I don't want to trade AD. But what are you doing with LeBron? Selling tickets? Okay. Kind of what you did at the end with Kobe. But you said a lot more losing. Would you ever consider trading LeBron to at least get something for him? Trade him somewhere? Maybe back to Cleveland? Maybe to the Miami Heat? I don't know. If you're the Lakers, you got a $47 million, 38-year-old guy who is not a $50 million a year guy anymore. What do you do? LeBron deserves it more. Hey, I'm not saying that LeBron's not playing better basketball than Harden. I'm just saying for $50 million, there is a number on this, isn't there not? Okay, I mean, would you ever consider moving LeBron James? Why he can? He's not Kobe Bryant. LeBron has always been a rental. He's not a Laker. He's a mercenary. That's the difference between Michael Jordan and Kobe. Those guys were Lakers and Bulls. LeBron James is a mercenary. Doesn't matter if they trade him or not. He has no loyalty to any organization. He's not a Laker. He just played with them. Laker fans don't even consider him that. He's kind of like A-Rod was when A-Rod went to the Yankees. He was never looked in the same light, even though he was a better player than Derek Jeter. He was a better player than Derek Jeter. You know, he had as many gold gloves as Jeter at shortstop. But it was A-Rod who had to move to third base. Nobody in their right mind ever went like this. Hey, A-Rod's the face of the Yankees. It was always Derek Jeter. Why? Because he was a homegrown guy. Always a homegrown guy. If you're Jeannie Buss, man, do you think of trading LeBron James? Why he can? The Lakers aren't going to get any better. You're not going to be better than the Nuggets next year. You're not better than the Suns. You're not better than any of those teams. And you're not getting better. You're getting older. And you got a guy on your team. See, this is where the Eagles would move LeBron James. They would move LeBron because it's all about the organization. AD has to go. Why? He's the younger guy. I'm tired every year barely seeing this man on the court. Well, at least I see him and I don't see Zion Williamson. Just saying. So again, I mean, the Lakers have a $50 million, 38-year-old man next year on their books. I don't know, man. If that were me and I was a general manager, you think Pat Riley would move his ass? I think he would. But people never bring that up. Can you imagine if he had stayed in Miami? He could have 6 or 7 NBA championships now. Ego. Hey, today, packed show. Gary Cobb, as always, 4:30 Eastern. I got 10 questions about your 2023 Eagles. I'm going to throw that at you here in a second. Also, our friend who's calling the NHL playoffs now, Keith Jones, the president of hockey operations for the Philadelphia Flyers, will join us at 5:30 Eastern time. I look forward to talking with Keith, our friend. Man, we've been friends a long time. Bruce Arians, JM, is Wednesday. Seth Joyner is tomorrow. That's on the early part of the schedule. So Arians is Wednesday, and we're working on the time for Bruce. That'll be Wednesday. Tomorrow, Seth Joyner. So got the early part of the week lined up here for you too. So I threw something out Friday, and I kind of went back and forth with people on Twitter yesterday at Dan Sileo Show, and we were talking about the best teams since 2000 in the NFC. And then, of course, you have Seahawk fans that are jumping on there going, well, the Seahawks are 8-1 or 9-1, whatever it is, against Philly. I go, that wasn't the statement. I don't give a shit what your record is versus Philly. Since 2000, there's only one team that has more wins than the Philadelphia Eagles. Here they are. And by the way, the Rams, I didn't even add it up because you know why? The Rams suck. Their record is terrible. It's even worse than the Buccaneers. And what I did was I went back to 2000, and all NFC teams that have won Super Bowls are on this list. These are your teams that have won Super Bowls or Super Bowl, been to Super Bowls, and have the best record since 2000. The Packers, 231. Well, you got Favre and you have Rodgers. You better have a hell of a record. The Eagles, 217 victories since 2000. They are second. The Saints, since 2000, 211 victories. Drew Brees. The Seahawks, you got to remember something now. The Seahawks came back to the NFC in 2002. So in theory, they have 195 wins. But I went ahead and gave them the 2 years in the AFC. Remember, they did conference realignment. They were in the AFC. They were originally an NFC team. Then they put them in the AFC. Then they moved them back to the NFC in 2002. They have 210 victories. The Giants have 177 victories. And the Buccaneers have 170. And the Rams, I didn't even add it up. It's so bad. There's so many 2-win seasons. Even though they've had some success as of late being in Los Angeles, there were a lot of lean years in between the Super Bowl in St. Louis and the current run, what they're doing right now. Rams don't really have a great regular season record, so they're 7th. Now you look at what they've done, the Packers. Packers have had 2 great quarterbacks, absolutely. It's been more about the quarterbacks than the coaches in that building. Mike Holmgren's a great coach. If I had to say which coach was probably the best coach of all this group here, you'd probably say Holmgren here a little bit. Because Holmgren also was part of the Seahawks' success. Remember, Mike went to Seattle and had some success in Seattle. Seattle's a really good organization. John Schneider and those guys, new ownership now, but John Schneider and Pete Carroll have been great there. The Giants, the Mara family and the Tisch family, I think they've fallen off a little bit since Reese hasn't been the general manager and Tom Coughlin's not in the building, but they're getting it back. They're kind of trying to roll it back. They had a turnaround season last year. The Buccaneers with the Glazers are good owners. They're good owners. Just fall on hard times sometimes hiring the right guy. You know, the one thing about the 2 teams at the top, though, they seemingly hired the right guy. And they made really great judgments on quarterbacks. Remember something, Favre didn't initially start his career in Green Bay. He was an Atlanta Falcon. They made a trade. Ron Wolf made a trade for him and brought him to Green Bay. The Eagles have done it with 3 different coaches, 3 different quarterbacks, 3 different generations of players, really, and they consistently go to Super Bowls. They're consistently at the top of the list at the NFC East. They get the best. I think they've won 85 ball games since 2000 in the NFC East. So, everyone start then lining up records versus the Eagles. That's not what the comment was. I didn't say what your record was versus Seattle or what your record was versus the Packers. I said the best franchise in the NFC were the Philadelphia Eagles since 2000. And I do think that still. I do. You know why? You know why I would take the Eagles over the Packers? They got an owner. They actually have an owner. And it's not quarterback reliant. What you guys have done in Philadelphia since 2000 has not been because of one particular player. It's been because of one particular owner. And that owner wants to win and own the NFC East. Jerry Jones worries about TV ratings, overpaying his players, not getting to a conference championship. Has got to kill the guy. Eventually, again, like Tone says, you just can't put your name on the test and go, hey, I passed. The Cowboys haven't passed the test in 30 years. The Eagles are fighting every single year, it seems. A couple down years on winning the NFC East and making some hay in the postseason. It's a great run organization. Okay? It's a great run organization. Second in wins, the Super Bowl appearances, the NFC Conference Championship games they've been to. The postseason success is better than Packers' success. Packers get home field advantage and blow it. How many times did we watch Aaron Rodgers blow it, especially over the last couple of years here? Right? That starts all with that owner in Philadelphia. Jeffrey Lurie's been a great owner. Great owner. Believes in a culture like Pat Riley does down with the Heat. What gets me about Pat Riley and and Jeffrey Lurie and with Howie Roseman. These guys are all about the team. It's all about the team and the culture. Dude, the Miami Heat, would we not agree, are the least talented team of the final four teams that are left in the NBA playoffs, right? They're the least. But man, they got a war dog in that Jimmy Butler dude. He is the best leader of the final four teams. Jokic, all them guys. He is an assassin. And get this, doesn't he remind you of Jalen Hurts? This guy doesn't give a shit about numbers. Doesn't care about the regular season. He just cares about winning. Jimmy Butler and Jalen Hurts have a lot in common. Man, it's all about his teammates. It's all about winning. It's right. 11. With Butler and Hurts, dude, like Ricky Bobby says, if you ain't first, you're last. And I believe that's how those guys think. Someone was asking Butler the other day, hey, did you think when you guys were in the playoffs that you were going to roll it back and you were going to win the way you're winning? He's like, you're damn right I did. Telling you, man. And you know why more people are watching the NBA playoffs now? Because you got guys like Jimmy Butler and you got teams like the Miami Heat. Isn't that cool? Those guys aren't playing just to win a championship. You know what they're playing for? They're playing for the Heat culture, their jobs. They're more in fear that Pat Riley's going to find someone else to replace them. And those guys are playing for fear. You know what the fear is? You may not have your job because he can find someone else. So you're constantly playing in fear. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, man, when you're starving and you've got to feed your family, you'll do a lot more things than when you're sitting at home on a comfy couch. I'd like to have a couple guys like that on my team. You're in fear of everything that's around you. You're in fear of your job. You see, in Dallas, they're not afraid of their jobs. Place like Philadelphia, you can be replaced and you will be. They'll pull the carpet out from you. I think this is such a great lesson in cultures. Okay, when I watch the Nuggets play, I go like this. Oh, they haven't been there, and you can see it sometimes. I get a little nervous. When I watch Butler pull your heart out and just shit all over you, and then you start talking shit to him, worst thing you could do, this guy's Jordan. It's like watching Michael Jordan. Or Kobe Bryant. When I watch Jimmy Butler play, it's like watching Kobe Bryant. He reminds me of Kobe Bryant. Kobe's more talented, I think. I'm just saying, man. I think. Just, man. That guy is just something else to watch. That's a dog culture. It is, Callie. And I so appreciate that when you get a culture like that. Dude, Neil, he is a Jordan. All right. I wrote down 10 questions. OTAs are next week for the Eagles. 10 questions I have for your 2023 Philadelphia Eagle team. And I'm going to ask you if you think these come to facts and become facts. I've got a question, 10 of them. Let's start it out. And I'm going to keep this right here all year. 10 questions, 10 burning questions about the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles. Here we go. Will Jalen Hurts play 17 games? I'm saying no. Here, I'm going to put Big Sills and you. I say no. I say he doesn't because he hasn't. Do you think he plays? And not sitting issues like, you wrap up home field and he's a healthy sit. I'm talking about injury. Okay. All right. 15. His ass better plays. 14. I think we're all in agreement. He's not going to play 17 games. There's going to be a nick or two this year. Hey, it wasn't devastating last year that he got hurt. He was tremendous in the Super Bowl. It's just a question. Here's question number 2. Will Hurts throw for 4K and 30 touchdowns in 2023? Remember, you just answered he's not going to play a full season. Does he throw for 4,000 yards, becoming only the second Philadelphia Eagle to throw for 4K? And does he put 30 touchdowns in the air in 2023? Not likely. 30 TDs, not the 4K? If anything, I think it's more the 30 touchdowns and not the 4K. That's a good question, too. Which one of these does he do? 30 touchdowns or 40 or 4K? I like that question, too. Because 40 touchdowns and 30. Hey, 30 touchdowns and 4K, that's a pretty good season, dude. Okay? And by the way, if he did something like that, Josh Allen, move over. Just move over. If he did that, move over. Move over. Because I'm sure there's going to be 800 yards behind that rushing the ball, too. Just move over. If he does something like that. 3,999, 35 touchdowns. I say this. There's not a chance he's going to go for 4K and 30 touchdowns in the same season. No way. No. All 17 because he has a better running back core. No way. You don't have a better running back core. Yeah, the guy last year had 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns. Guy went to the Pro Bowl. So you have a Pro Bowl back there? You have a committee. Does he get paid more for that? 11. Probably there's incentives in his contract that say that. Probably there's incentives in there. Okay. Speaking of running back, will the Eagles have a 1,000-yard runner this year? And for the record, so you know, I love DeAndre Swift. I think it was a great trade. I absolutely love that move. I'm a huge fan of that move. Okay? You think you have a 1,000-yard back. Tony, you think they have a 1,000-yard back this year? If he has 800 yards, then he'll get 4K passing. He's not getting 4,000 yards passing, missing games. You guys already said it. Okay? And I don't want Jalen to run for 1,000 yards. Will you have a running back? I don't believe you're going to have a 1,000-yard running back this year. And nor do you, really. I think Swift is going to have a lot of total offense, though. Like, I could see DeAndre Swift about 1,700 yards in total offense. Okay? Yeah, me too, Tone. I think there's I think Swift is going to be like 1,500 yards, somewhere there in all-purpose. So, I mean, actually it could be an upgrade because you're going to have a screen game. Penny is good when healthy. Wake me up when he's healthy. Here's an interesting one. These are questions for the 2023 Eagles. I'm asking all of you. Will the Eagles have 3 pass catchers with 1,000 yards? Will you have 3? Goddard, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown. What do you think? Will the Eagles have 3,000-yard pass catchers? If I'm not mistaken, I think Dallas Goedert, if he hadn't gotten hurt, I think he'd have been right there at 1,000 yards too. You could have had 3 guys maybe. Wouldn't that have been crazy? And Hurts would have probably been over 4K. Wasn't he somewhere around 3,700, even with missing games? Probably could have been right around that number, right? Hopefully 2. Can you imagine if you have 2 years in a row with 2 dudes with 1,000 yards? I would make this comment to you if that happens, that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, probably your best duo pass catchers in Philadelphia Eagle history. I think you guys are going to be pretty close. I'm with you. I could see Dallas Goedert at 900 yards. And I think you might. I think you might have 3 pass catchers with 1K. Think about that for a minute. I'm saying he's not going to throw for 4,000 yards, but you may have 3 dudes with 1,000 yards in catching yards. 2 receivers and a tight end. I struggled on this one because I think they could. Will the Eagles have 3 pass catchers with 1K? A healthy Goddard is over 1,000. Oh, wait a minute. Look at what Game 7's saying. He says, I'm leading the witness. All these trick questions are designed so Dan can later, you fans said, don't fall for it. That's not true. That's not true. Dude, what do you think? I'm one of those Philadelphia media guys that set up Jalen Carter? Come on, man. Philly 500, what up, man? Philly 500 goes Big Sills. I think Devontae Smith will be a top 5 wide receiver this year. Hey, Philly, we've been asking this question here. I got 10 questions for the 2023 Eagles. Will Hurts play 17 games? I'm saying no. Will Hurts throw for 4K and 30 touchdowns in the same year? I said no. Will the Eagles have a 1,000-yard back? I'm saying no. And we're here now. Will the Eagles have 3 pass catchers with 1,000 yards? Dan. Let me think. Hey, Tone, this is going to be nutty. Philly, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to have 3 pass catchers over 1,000 yards this year. Thank you, Game 7. I'm circling that one. I think you are, man. Dallas Goedert would have had 1,000 yards this year or this past season. Okay? He would have had 1,000 yards last year. Okay. Question number 5. Will the Eagles have 3 defensive players with double-digit sacks? Yes or no? Philly 500. Yes, sir. Will the Eagles have 3 players with double-digit sacks? Nolan Smith, I'm picking to lead the Eagles in sacks because they'll put him situationally. Hassan Reddick, you got to put him down for double digits because he's done it double digits. Brandon Graham, Carter, Josh Sweat. I think the Eagles are going to have 3 dudes with double-digit sacks. Here's a hard one for you now. Will the Eagle defense finish for the third year in a row in the top 10. This, I'm saying no. This, I'm saying no. 4,000 passing yards with wide receiver. Jeff, Swift helps that. Swift and the health of Goddard helped Jalen get an opportunity to get that 4K. It's going to be on health, though. Hey, Jeff, just so you know, it's not that I don't think Jalen Hurts can't throw for $4,000. It's will he be able to? Will he be healthy enough to? That's where I'm at. I'm not talking about skill set. I'm talking about health. Top 5? Oh, I don't believe that at all. Too many holes in your defense right now. Need another linebacker. So Josh goes like this, or it's not Josh. Who's saying it? Yeah, Josh is saying we need another linebacker. Well, Josh, if you're on May 22nd saying you need another linebacker, in my opinion, Josh, you need a linebacker. Okay? You need a linebacker. 3 players with double-digit sacks, but not top 10 defense. Yeah, because I don't think you're going to be able to stop the run like you think you are. And I think you'll be down in the 20s in stopping the run. And if you can't stop the run, you're going to be in trouble this year. And I think you're going to have guys that are going to be able to get to the quarterback. But the issue for the Eagles this year is not going to be pass defense or rushing the passer. It's going to be stopping the run. Okay? It's going to be stopping the run. Question number 7. Will the Eagles win 12 games? Buffalo, Chiefs, the Jets, woo! The Niners, the Cowboys. Easy. Is that right? Hey, by the way, somebody at the I have to do this. I got to stop it here. Hey, Philly, you're going to love this. I have a little insight and I have a little intel from the NovaCare Center, from my spy at the NovaCare Center. Okay? And it concerns Matt Patricia. Do you guys want to hear it? This is about Matt Patricia. I've stopped at 7 here. Will the Eagles win 12 games? I think they will. Okay? No, Michael, I'm with you. I think they do win 12. I think they win 12, and I think they win home field advantage. Okay. Here's what I was told because people watch the show. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate the fact that I know people watch the show now, even more so every day. My take on Patricia's good when it comes to disguising defenses. But someone pointed this out to me. Sills, who do we play on our schedule? Jets? Yeah. Dolphins? Yeah. Patriots? Yeah. Oh, I'm just checking. Bills? Play the Bills too, right? Yeah. So we play the entire NFC East or AFC East. Yeah. It's really not rocket scientist here. I went. It was like a light bulb, even more so went off. Holy shit. This guy's got all the game plans, how Belichick game planned against all the teams in the AFC East, and he's got them. And all the things that they did, they kind of play almost the same kind of defense they do in Philadelphia, that they do in New England. This is all about Patricia's here because of the AFC East teams that they play. And the disguises, but I mean, it was like an epiphany. Dude, you should have seen this guy. Hey, Tyler, you should have seen this guy. He goes, hey, I really like your your Patricia take, but can I add a little bit to it? And I go, sure. You're in the building. What's the first game of the year? Patriots? Oh. Do we play the Jets? Yeah. Do we play the Dolphins? Yeah. Do we play the Bills? Yeah. Don't over. He goes, you say something on your show that's really great and everyone's using it around here now. Don't overthink shit, Sills. Hey. When he said that to me, I was like, man, why do I do it? He goes, don't overcook it like you always do. He was brought in. Well, you're right. But also because of the AFC East. Captain Obvious strikes again, right? So Howie brings in Howie brought in a hitman for the AFC East teams. That hire looks even more like a master stroke now. He didn't bring him in to be some sort of defensive guru dude. He's got that in his kid Desai believes. He brought that guy in as a specialist. You know how you hire a hitman and you don't want it to be tied to your own family? So you go out to another family, the Lucchese family, and you go, hey, I need you to knock someone off in the Gambino family. Not that I would know these things. I've read books. Not that I would know these things, okay? I've just, I just heard things. And I heard things from Tommy and Bob and John, and Luigi and Vito. Okay? So that they hired a hitman. The Eagles have hired a hitman and Matt Patricia to hit the AFC East teams. Hey, I'm going to bring my boy in here. That's probably how they told Slay. Dude, this guy's not going to be day-to-day working on defensive schemes. He's an assistant to the assistant to the assistant. He's like a consigliere. Matt Patricia's the consigliere to Nick Sirianni. And then they all report to the Godfather. That's what we're going to start calling Howie, the Godfather. Hey, I got to bring someone in here to bring someone in to go over there. You're in the dirty business. Who is in gambling? Get the guy Patricia. Bring him in here. And by the way, tell Luca Brazzi I need to see him. Hey, Matt Patricia's Luca Brazzi. Hey, bring Luca Brazzi in. And tell Luca Brazzi to come in here. Matt, this Johnny Fontaine thing, I need you to go to Vegas and fix it. I need you to go up to Gillette and fix it. Holy cow, man. Howie Roseman hired Luca Brazzi to take care of the AFC East. Sills knows a little too much about setting up a hit. No idea what you're talking about. I read it in the books, and I watch it in movies. Not that I know things are things, and I haven't seen things or know people who know folks, but, Are you saying, JH, that I was serving tea at Santos Traficante's place down in Ybor City? Are you saying that I knew Santos? Santos. What a great paisan. Yeah. Used to go over to his house. Then used to go down to the Columbia restaurant when I was with the Buccaneers and in Miami, have a little like espresso. Santos is good. Hey, Santos is good people. Oh, he was. Let me get back onto this here. Howie's a hitman. He hired Luca Brazzi, Matt Patricia. Right? Holy cow. I'm old. Wheels. Pretty smart, though, dude. You hire a coach that knows exactly and has game planned against those AFC East teams all those years and decades, how would you not want that knowledge inside your building? That's what I say about those guys when they make their hires. The Eagles do great hiring, and it's thought out thoroughly. That's so smart now. I mean, really, the guy in the NovaCare Center goes, Dan, don't overcook it, dude. We're playing a bunch of AFC East teams. He's brought in because he's game planned against the Bills. He knows how to beat Josh Allen. He knows how to beat the Dolphins. He knows how to beat all these teams. He saw all those players in New England beat those teams for decades. He knows how Brady beat them. Super smart move. You know, everybody in Philadelphia was doing this. Patricia, this guy sucked as a head coach. Howie wasn't looking at that. Howie was looking at him as a hired assassin versus the AFC East. Pretty smart, man. All right. Let me get back to my 10 questions for the 2023 Eagles. Let me reset. Will Hurts play 17 games? No. Will Hurts throw for 4K and 30,000 yards or 30 touchdowns in the same year? No. Will the Eagles have a 1,000-yard back? No. Rushing. Will the Eagles have 3 players with 1K in pass catching yards? I can't believe it, but yes. So I don't know how you go 4,000 yards. The kid doesn't have 4,000 yards, but yet you have 3 pass catchers with 1,000 yards. So then again, it's Big Sills math. Will the Eagles have 3 defensive players with double-digit sacks? I believe they will. Will the Eagles have a top 10 defense? I do not believe they will. Okay? Hey, Eastwood, shut up. Okay? Go away, Snowflake. She said that he'd go away and kill somebody to become that girl. Such a snowflake. People like you make me sick to my stomach. Yeah, but see, this guy here does this and that. You hear what he said? Hey, Eastwood, take a knee. Jordan Davis plays more than 60 snaps. And by the way, that's all you get out of me today, Snowflake. Your new name is Snowflake, Eastwood. Philadelphia Snowflake. One of the very few. You hear what he said? If you dated a daughter, he'd murder the guy. Dude, you need a bib and a banky. So, hey, you need a banky. You see what he said? You must work in the radio business or at Crossing Broad. Woo! Boom! Will the Eagles win 12 games? Yes. Here we go now. Here's one. Question 8. Will the Eagles lead the NFL in points scored? Will the Eagles lead the NFL in points scored? No. JH, that dude's name is Blow Pop. JH, that guy's name is Blow Pop. Hey, no doubt, dog. That's why you can't do radio anymore. Because those are the people that work in the radio business. Did you hear what he said? You think the Eagles can lead the NFL in points scored? Cincinnati. I don't know, man. 3 dudes with 1,000 yards. Pat. Yeah, hey. Okay. Yeah. That's okay. It's all right. I think you guys are right. I think it's going to be Cincinnati, Kansas City. But they could lead the NFC in scoring. No? They could lead the NFL in scoring. Yeah, some of you guys, hey, you know what? Like, remember Full Metal Jacket when the sergeant comes in there and Fat Body's eating like a jelly donut? I'm not going to blame him for eating the jelly donut. I'm going to blame all of you for allowing him to eat the jelly donut. I'm going to blame you. So from now on, I'm going to punish you with pile F's up. Holy cow, what the hell is that? What is that? It's a jelly donut. It's a jelly donut. And what is a jelly donut doing in your lockbox? I was hungry. He was hungry. Got to take care of some people sometime. Code Blue. Here is the 9th question. And I think this is an interesting one. Who will have a bigger impact on the Philadelphia Eagles defense in 2023? Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis? Who will have the bigger impact? Carter. Jordan Davis. I think Carter too. Listen, you know what's going to happen this year for Jordan Davis? And this is why this is great to have somebody like Fletcher in the building. Jordan Davis, everyone's going to realize what I said he is. He is. He's not a bust. And by the way, I still love the pick. He was just overdrafted. I still love the pick. He's a fine ball player. No one's ever going to go like this. I don't want Vince Wilfork on my football team or Tony Saragusa in their prime. No one's ever going to say that because you need to have run stoppers on your team. You're going to go like this. Probably could have got him a little bit cheaper. You overpaid for him. That's all. Happens. Sometimes we all overpay for shit. I think Howie overpaid here, but that's okay. He's still going to be worth having him on the football team. Like, this guy's not going to be Derek Barnett. Okay? He's not going to be Derek Barnett. He's going to be cool. He's going to be productive. Carter's going to be your impact player, though. So if I had to pick who's going to be the bigger star and have the bigger impact in 2023, one of my burning questions, I think Jordan Davis has an impactful season this year. But I think that Jalen Carter is your superstar player. And I think that threesome, if you get that thing right between Fletcher, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter, I think you could be better than what you had a year ago. I think it's really going to all determine what kind of shape Davis is in. Do we agree with this? Hey, do we agree with the triangle here? This could be an upgrade compared to last year on these two things. Davis comes in shape, and if Jalen Carter comes into camp for the Eagles with a great mindset, puts his nose down, goes out, and makes plays like he can, and he's very capable of. But I also say this about him. He's going to have to get in game shape. That Georgia Bulldog program does not have these guys conditioned to play in the NFL 65 plays. You know why? Because they don't play that amount of plays when they're at Georgia. You're either killing a team and getting pulled. You're either rotating a bunch of guys. You're not physically conditioned to play in the NFL. You have to be in better shape, no matter what your talent skill set is. Because why? You don't have the roster And you don't have the depth that you have in college football. You understand that there's 85 people on a college roster. There's 100 with walk-ons. You got 53 guys, 47 on Sundays. You don't have the ability to sit there and put a guy in and rotate guys. You can't. Nobody rotates guys like they do in college because you don't have the personnel and you don't have the roster length. You know, that's one thing I'd like to see the NFL do. I would like to see the NFL expand that roster a little more. And I know they got practice squad guys, but if you're going to play Thursday games and you're going to start playing more games, shit, they're even talking about an 18th game. You're going to play overseas. I think you need 2 buys and more players. That would, in my opinion, solidify the fact that I think that you could get through a season without having a lot of guys hurt. I think you need 2 bye weeks. And I think you need to expand the roster to 60, maybe 65. And if you did that, you'd be able to get through a regular season, and playing Thursday night games would be cool. And you know what you could also sell, right, Yale? That you're looking out for player safety. Instead of playing on a Sunday, turning around and having to play on a Thursday, right? And you're not physically healthy, especially later in the year. If you had 2 bye weeks and you had an expanded roster, you're going to be cool. And you can also, like I said, sell the fact that you're looking out for player safety. Until the NFL does that, you're just ringing up the cash register at the expense of the players. And one day, you're going to get, once again, Case Keenum versus Nick Foles in a conference championship game. Nobody in their right mind wants to see that. I don't want to see substitute teachers in conference title games. Okay? I don't. Number 10. What's the point of the international games? Cosmo. They get to start the cash register early. 6 o'clock Pacific time. Okay? 6 o'clock Pacific time. You get to start the cash registers when you're playing in Europe. That's the only reason you do it. Okay. Here's the number 10th question. Who will lead the Eagles in receiving yards this year? They want NFL Europe? Yale. Why in the world would the NFL think that their brand is going to sell in Europe when no one gives a shit about it? Do you know the only place that they play American football is in Canada and America with a league? That's the only place they play. It's not like soccer or basketball. Okay? You don't play American football anywhere else. As a matter of fact, nobody calls football what we play. They call it soccer in Europe. Okay? Why would it's a sales pitch. You think people in Germany are going to watch an NFL game versus having a German national team or a German soccer team playing against England? Come on, man. The NFL in Europe would be like the MLS. Nobody cares. You weren't raised on it like we were. It's not an American sport. Why would they root for it? Or it's not a European sport. They wouldn't root for it. We don't root for non-American sports. That's why the Olympic Games don't do well. You think I'm really going to cross-country skeet shooting? Okay. Hey, cross-country skeet shooting. Wait a minute. Watch this. Who's the dominant country in cross-country skeet shooting? Germany, let me guess. Let me guess. Germany. Right? Cross-country potato smasher throwing. Who's great in that? Germany. Okay. Finland. Oh, Curling, that's a Canadian sport, I think. See, JB, I think that I could win an Olympic gold medal. There's a chance for me still to this day to win a gold medal. I wanted to try to win one in the shot put, but a guy named Michael Carter was hanging around and I couldn't do it. Hey, I got to tell you, Tone, I got to tell you this story about Michael Carter. His daughter won the Olympic gold medal, in Rio. And Michael won 3 Super Bowls with the 49ers. Played at SMU. Great player. In my opinion, probably one of the greatest nose guards during the nose guard era. And he missed his first year because he was in the 84 Olympics in Los Angeles. Well, we were young kids. So, hey, oh my God, it was at the Penn Relays. It was at the Penn Relay. Maybe it wasn't at the Penn Relays, but it was at Franklin Field. And they got all the top shot putters in the country together. I'm throwing at 60 feet, 12-pounder, high school kid. Yeah. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I go, there's Michael Carter, owns the national record. I had no idea what the national record was. So Michael Carter goes like this. He comes up, he picks it up, throws it 62.5 or something. I throw it 61 something. I'm like, oh my God, I think I could beat this guy. I go pick up his shot put. He's throwing a 16-pounder. I'm throwing a 12. He threw the 12-pounder 80 feet. I went, what now? He threw it 80 feet. He threw that shot put 80 feet. Everyone in the building just went like this. We just started sinking like butter in a pan. He threw that shot put. I think it's still a national record today. He threw it 80 feet. Hey, JM. I go, I think I could beat this guy. I go pick a shot up. It's a 16-pound shot. I'm throwing a 12. And he's throwing it 62 feet. He could have qualified for the Olympics with that throw. And I'm going, oh my God. I must have threw it 20 feet after that. It was like, that's the end of that. Oh, dude. Oh, man. People who don't work out blame jelly donuts. All right. So let me recap here. Big Sil's 10 burning questions for your Eagles in 2023. Will Hurts play 17 games? No. Will Hurts throw for 4K and 30 touchdowns in the same season in 2023? No. Will the Eagles have a 1,000-yard rusher? No. Here's the contradiction. Will the Eagles have 3 pass catchers have 1,000 yards or more this year? Yes. Well, how the hell can he get yeah. That's Sil's math there, 101. Will the Eagles have 3 defenders, double-digit sacks? I believe you will. Will the Eagle defense finish in the top 10? I do not believe they will. Will the Eagles win 12 games? I think they will. Will the Eagles lead the NFL in points scored? I don't think they will, but I do think they could lead the NFC in scoring. Who will have a bigger impact on the defense this year? Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis? I said Davis. I didn't finish this one. Who will lead the Eagles in receiving yards in 2023? I'm going to say Dallas Goedert. I'm going to say Dallas Goedert. I think Dallas Goedert's going to have the most receiving yards of any pass catcher on the Eagles this year. I think Goedert. I do. I think Goedert has the most pass catching yards this season. Yeah. I'm going to ask Gary Cobb these same questions. Just so you know. I think it's going to be a very, and by the way, like Yale said, 12 wins is a big deal. because I think the 49ers can win 12. I think the Cowboys are going to be right there at 10 or 11 wins themselves. Goddard has to stay healthy first. I don't think the offense changes at all. Game 7 is, see what he's doing right here. See what Game 7 is doing? He's playing he's playing jailhouse lawyer here. Dan Sileo, I think wants us Birds fans to be wrong in these predictions. You remember how he held it against us for Wentz. He will do the same later. Man, ye of little faith. What? Me? Hold you to your words? You hold me to it? How many times you guys put 2 and 5 up there still? 2 and 5, Sales. Yeah, but I did say you were going to the Super Bowl. 2 and 5. But I did say you were going to the Super Bowl. I don't care. 2 and 5. Dan Sileo. The safe pick is AJ because they have connections with one another. You see, though, Philadelphia, Big Sills doesn't play anything safe. You understand that? Gary Cobb coming up, bottom of the hour. Don't forget our friend Keith Jones, the president of the Flyers, will also join us. He's on his way to the rink in hour number 3, too. So we're hopefully going to be able to catch up with him. That'll be at 5:30 Eastern. Hit the like button. Hour 2. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild wood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Hour 2, Big Sills, National Football Show. Please hit the like button. Our friend Gary Cobb from Fox 29 in Philadelphia will join us at the bottom of the hour. Then the president of the Flyers in hour number 3. How about this number here, man? The Eagles since 2000 are 86-56 in the NFC East. By far the best record. By far. All goes to the culture. Super Bowl appearances, conference championship games, playoff wins. There's not a team in the East that could put a resume like the Eagles can. Giants have more Super Bowl wins. I get it. And you're right. They do. But the model of consistency has been the Philadelphia Eagles in that division. Just like the model of consistency. Here, I would put it this way. Here are the model of consistency teams in the NFL for the last 25 years. Philly, New England, Pittsburgh, Green Bay, Seattle, Kansas City, probably. New Orleans. Probably. That's it. This shows you how hard it is to be consistent. Okay? Shows you just how hard it is to be that consistent. All right. Baltimore, Baltimore, very good. Baltimore for sure. I would put Baltimore in that. Please hit the like button here. I want to, before I get to something on Jim Brown, my daughter asked me this actually. I happened to have watched the interview with Matt Ariza on KUSI in San Diego. And he did his first exclusive interview with the folks there at KUSI. Obviously, he went to school at San Diego State. And there are still people, especially in the Philly market, now have gone from him being innocent or guilty, and most of them are saying guilty, to now, well, it's a civil case. Well, shit, man. Do you know what a civil case is? A civil case is making shit up until something sticks. Do you understand that's what a civil case is? Now, I'm not saying all of them, but in a case like this, when the district attorney says he wasn't there, there's no evidence, video, or anybody that could corroborate that he was even there. She's lying. And I'm taking this from the interview. She's lying. And so because the media and the liberal media that we have, they're going to say, you know what? In some of these civil cases, again, you just make shit up until something sticks. That's what our liberal media does. They'll say anything until something sticks. You got people now saying this. Well, you know, he's got a civil case. Shit, you could be sued for anything. Anybody can be. I listened to this interview with this guy, and get this. He has no ill will towards San Diego State. He doesn't want to sue school to school. But he's suing the attorney of the girl. And he's not, get this, they wanted him to settle for $50,000. He went never. He went like this. Hey, yeah, watch the interview. They were in the same dorm. It was in the same dorm. Like, watch the interview. I posted it at Dan Sileo show. Okay? I posted it so people can make their own opinions. Not listen to some jackass make an opinion on it. He's done nothing wrong. Admission, hey, that's right. He's not going to admit to that. They wanted him to settle for $50,000. in a rape case, 50 grand? I mean, my integrity means a little more than that. So where now people are rushing to help this kid? Just like they didn't when it came to the Duke lacrosse case. Everybody went after those kids and ruined their lives. They were a great team. I think they were the defending national champion. Everyone called them rapist. Threw them out of school. Did anybody ever apologize to them? Hell no. They're collateral damage. So do you just guess what you do? You just pass on by it. That's what you've done here to Matarisa. Dude, let me just tell you this. My opinion has changed because of what the authorities are saying. Not because, actually, this isn't an opinion. I'm listening to what those guys are saying. I have a daughter too. And if somebody was doing, because I'm going to get into a topic on Jim Brown here, and I'm going to ask you about it. If I thought that guy had done those dastardly deeds that people were saying that happened to that poor girl, I would never want this guy. This guy should be incarcerated. I mean, I don't know how he shouldn't be incarcerated, but everyone who's involved in the case is saying he's been vindicated. Yeah, I'll go, sometimes bad shit happens. So we should leave a guy in jail for 30 years if we find out later on that the guy was actually innocent? Hey, man, I don't think that's cool. I think there should be as many people screaming for Matarisa now on his innocence as there was when they thought he was guilty. But you see, we just kind of like blow it off because you know why? We don't like to be wrong in the media. And so the media will just blow on by this. Okay? Let me bring up a topic here. And I want to get your opinions on this. Look, we had a great conversation about Jim Brown. And Jim Brown, one of the most iconic players in the history of sports, not just the NFL. So my daughter came to me. I think it was Saturday. She's like, Dad, so Jim Brown threw a girl off a balcony. Every decade that he's lived, pretty much had a domestic violence case against him. I said, yes. He goes, why isn't that being brought up? I couldn't answer it. I told her this. I go, well, sometimes when we look at our heroes, we dissect it. I mean, we do. White and black. Kobe Bryant. Okay, Eagle Creek. We completely forget that. When I think it's Mike Tyson. Okay? Anybody, any athlete that has had something happen to them. Ben Roethlisberger. Okay? Ben Roethlisberger in the bathroom with that woman. Kind of glossed. Brett Favre. All that shit. She goes, why do you guys always celebrate somebody like that, but don't bring up the indiscretions? It's a great question. I think, and it's pathetic in a way, I think it's because we want to remember our heroes in a great light. We're all fallible, I think. You know? She's like, but he beat women up. I know. So you think he's a hero? And I go, can you look at somebody with their athletic exploits and separate the character of the guy? Can you separate it? Can you separate that? Can you? You can? You think, yeah, you can look at Brown for what? See, that I think you can too. My daughter thinks you can. You put it all in a bowl, and I think then you look, and I don't think you do that. And here's why. Jim Brown, to me, again, is a tremendous football player and one of the greatest football players of all time. He's not my idol. He's one of the greatest players of all time. He's done so many good things in his life. Has he done bad things? Yes. Does that cancel out the good things? It's a very complex life that he's lived. It's a very complex life. On one hand, he's had domestic violence issues. On the other hand, he's done great things for minorities. He's an activist. He's one of the people that were standing up, not just for black athletes, for all athletes. Okay? I thought it was an interesting debate, though. She's like, I'm watching all these people talk about Jim Brown. And she didn't know who Jim Brown was. And she started, doing some history on Jim Brown. And she was like, wow, this guy wasn't a very nice guy. And I'm like, okay. She's like, Jim Brown? I go, yeah, very well, actually. I'm just saying, how do you dissect that? Because there's been so many great people talking about what Brown's impact. Hey, and by the way, Brown's impact on the football field is legendary and second to none. We all know this. But do you bring up the bad part of it? Because isn't that part of the story? Or is it that when someone passes, you kind of omit it, but you know it? Like Mike Tyson. I liked the rehabilitated Mike Tyson. I like Mike Tyson today as a heel. Get this. Here's something funny. Maybe this is exactly what it is here. I look at Mike Tyson today, and I like Mike Tyson, the person today. I love Tyson today. Okay? But I miss Tyson the fighter. I miss Tyson the fighter. I miss that guy. You ask Mike Tyson about that guy, he hates that guy. Tyson hates that guy. I had him on my program in San Diego on the Mighty 1090. And Tyson went like this. Every day I woke up, I hated that guy. I just hated that guy. I get up every day now, and I love who I am. Do you know that money that he earned when he fought Roy Jones, that $9 million he earned? He gave every dime of it away. Okay? And Tone's like, so true. Tyson hates his boxing career. He hates who he was. Dude, can you imagine that? Somebody so dominant like that just hated the person that you were. And that person is revered more than the person today. Look at how we revered that guy. I do too. Went to jail for sexual stuff, right? And you're like, man, that guy was just unbelievable to watch, though. I think I think he's more rehabilitated now because I think he's cool with who he is now compared to what he was. And I think that's how people grow. I think you can. I think Jim Brown is also a complex dude. Jim Brown didn't hate who he was, though. Jim Brown was just Jim Brown. And I get my daughter's question. Or how about your friend? Then she brought it even more closer to home. She goes, what about your friend Michael Irvin? I go, what about him? She goes, what about your friend Ray Lewis, who was involved in a murder case? I'm like, she goes, you still like them guys? I go, I do. She goes, you still talk to those guys? I said, I do. She goes, I heard you talking the other night with Ray Lewis. I'm like, I did. She goes, he was involved in a murder case. I'm very aware of that. Yet sometimes you killed some of these other guys and you ripped some of these other guys. I said, well, I don't have personal relationships with those men. She goes, so you think Ray's a good guy? And I go, sometimes, man, when you're in this profession and you have a kid like that comes down and asks you questions. And by the way, I admire her asking me the questions and putting me on the spot. Because as a father, I have to answer how I truly feel. I'm not going to lie to her. I never lie to her. It's funny. I just looked away. I feel like I just lied to myself. Maybe sometimes I do. Because that's a habit with people. When they lie, they look away. Maybe I have. But, yeah, because maybe I did lie to her about Michael Irvin and Ray Lewis and some of the other guys that I've known. Jerome. She goes, you think Jerome was responsible? I go, no. Nor was I. I said, that could have been me in that car very easily. And very easily. I could have been in that car with him. I think admiring athletes. Maybe this is some of the things that Barkley said years ago, when you talk about role models. You see, this is why I've never truly had a role model that was an athlete. My role model was, I posted a picture. My aunt sent it to me. The face of Sandy Hook is celebrating his 50th year in the church in Connecticut. His name is Father Robert Weiss. He married my wife and I, blessed our marriage. He's been my preacher for over 40 years. And I admire the guy and I love the guy. He was the face of Sandy Hook. And I don't really tell the story much. All you have to do is Google it. I know there was a time that he took off after Sandy Hook because Father Bob had to tell the parents which ones their kids were lost and which ones they weren't. They got all the parents in a room in the gymnasium, and it was Father Weiss that told some of the parents their children were dead. And it affected him for 2 years. And we all reached out to him all the time just to make sure he was okay. And those are people that I admired. My grandfather, guys like that, people that had impact in your life. That's why I think it always gets a little bit. And this is how I kind of explained it to Danielle. I go, well, guys like Jim Brown, I mean, not a hero of mine. I mean, I don't really have an athlete hero. I have my preacher, my grandfather, my aunt, my uncles. Those guys were my role models because I saw them every day. Hey, Yale, can you imagine going in and going like this to there's 50 parents, 25 of them they told that I had to go over here and 25 over here. And Father Bob had to go with them, and he had to visually tell them that their children were slaughtered at Sandy Hook. I asked him, he goes, just what you would think. I'm like, oh my God. I'm proud he's my priest. Crazy people in the world. That right there, my friends, that's a role model to me. That's a role model. He's been with me for 40 plus years. I have a problem, call him. I have a problem, I email him. Been with him 40 years. I didn't know Jim Brown had a checkered past. Tim, I think, our whole story and all of it has to be put in a book, I do. I really do. All right. So I threw out my 10 questions and told you my 10 questions I have for the 2023 Eagles. By the way, Keith Jones is going to join us. Hour number 3, the brand new president of the Philadelphia Flyers. That'll be in hour 3 at 5:30. I know my friend Gary Cobb knows him very well. Gary's been talking sports forever in Philadelphia, and he joins us now here with Big Stills. I appreciate it. Surely you know Big Keith, right? Working over there. Keith?
Well, the big thing is, I know the Keith who was, on the radio talking and everything. See, now he's in a different position, So him being in a position, I don't know if you're going to get the Keith, well, you're going to get, a guy who's got a lot of responsibility. And, so we'll see, because he's funny, man. He's always got the jokes and these different little rhymes and all kind of stuff. He's a lot of fun, but I don't know if you're going to get that Keith because he's got a lot on his back. When I came here, man, the Flyers, they had a following. I mean, really committed following, people who really were ready to go out on the ice and fight with them. These guys were gritty and tough, man. So I know that's what they want to get back to.
Gary, did you? I know you got in politics a little bit, but did you ever think about getting into front offices, or did you ever think about going to work for like the Eagles or a team like that in the front office, scouting, or even coaching? Did it ever cross your mind?
Oh, yeah, it did. And I probably would have, but, I got an opportunity to jump in the media right away. If I had to do it again, I would have probably gotten in coaching because I could have always come back to media, But, and I enjoy it. And really, I play, I'm involved, like I'm in the locker room a lot of times. And, I work with a lot of players after they finish playing now. But, you love that. I mean, I love that locker room, You love the guys.
Here, Gary. Oh, I just know this. You don't really have to be that good of a coach to make a lot of money today. So maybe I would have did that too. You don't really have to be good.
No. Hey, if you get a couple guys, thing is, if you get that quarterback, man, woo, he can cover up a lot of mistakes. If you got the right guy who's back there behind, center, or you could get a couple of players on the team that, you take the guys down there in Baltimore, their defense down in Baltimore with Ray Lewis and those guys, man. But it would have been fun. I can't, because I like being around the game now. I mean, when I could go over there now and start messing with guys, man, I barely know them, I could go in there, you go in the locker room, man, because you just remember so many jokes and things that guys have played all through the years, and different players remind you of a guy you played with. See,
hey Gary, that's funny you say that. Before we move on here, did you find that transition going into media? See, to me, I got in trouble because of some of the shit that I said on the air. Because I was still in the locker room mentality, and some of the things that you say in the locker room, you would never in a million years. Everyone's mom and uncle and grandma and everything, girlfriends and clothing and haircuts.
It's like everything is game. Yeah, everything
was on the line there, and you can't do that shit today, man.
I know.
And I think sometimes that's where I got in trouble, because I look over at that guy and go, "Hey, man, you think you could play pro sports? You need a Tokyo phone book to stand up and look a guy in the eye." That guy look at me and go, "Tokyo phone book?"
Yeah, it's different now, because of all of the, because there's so much media. I mean, they got the bright lights on them so much. But, when we played, you had a ball in the locker room because it was it stayed in the locker room.
Yeah.
But, if you don't, the great thing I liked it is, look, I don't care who you were. If you couldn't take a joke, then you got to get over it, because they're going to crack on you. I mean, the guy's going to say something about you, and if you don't like it, too bad.
Hey, man, you better toughen that skin up, man, because if they find out that you can't take it, they're going to jump on your ass even more.
That's right.
Hey, don't do anything stupid or say anything stupid, because those guys are like wolves, man. They see some dead animal on the road, they're going to dive on this thing.
And they don't forget things either. Don't forget things.
I got 10 questions here for you that I put up here, and I want to ask you. Here's question 1. Will Jalen Hurts play 17 games in 2023?
I hope he will, but I would say no. I mean, they got to get him away from, he can't be running the ball as much. Cannot do that. You put everything on the line if you got him out there running the ball too much. And I would show him tape of Russell Wilson when he was up in Seattle. Russell Wilson's going to slide. He's not going for extra yardage. He will use his legs to take off, but He's not going to take any shots because he knows he's got to stay healthy. That's one of his jobs. And Jalen has got to look at it that way. They are not the same team if he's hurt. Come on. They're nowhere near being the same team. So he's got to stay healthy. And it's the one thing where if I had, one bit of advice I would give is I would say, look, don't you run him too much. Don't you do that.
Here's question 2. Will Hurts throw for 4K and 30 touchdowns this year?
I probably would say yeah, because
wow.
I think if they go the way I wanted to see them go, which is have them play from the pocket. Doggone, how is somebody going to cover all the guys they got? I mean, they got the run threat. You can't cover all these guys. There's no way. I mean, and these guys are getting better. These guys haven't even reached their peak when I think about the wide receivers, And Goddard was hurt for a lot of the year last year. Come on.
I got a question.
You can't cover the receivers and Goddard, and now you got Swift coming out of the backfield. I'm telling you, that's too much. There's nobody can cover all those guys. So I would tell him, look, Jalen, we don't want you running. If you can stay in the pocket, let these guys do the work. Get the ball in their hands, get the ball to Swift, because Swift he's terrible, man. Any linebackers get caught one-on-one on him, man. They're going to wind up, on a highlight reel. So,
I think he's going to.
They got a lot of weapons.
I think they're going to improve the screen game here. With that being said, you bring up the running back. Do you think that the Eagles will have a 1,000-yard rusher this year?
No. So
it's going to be more by committee.
It's going to be more by committee. I don't think Swift is a guy you can give the ball to. You're not going to give it to him as much as they did Miles last year. So you really have running back by committee. But the thing he gives you is he's a better pass catcher out of the backfield than Miles. He's much better. And you get him in open field, you got headaches. This kid is a game breaker. And so if they will just put the ball in the hands of their playmakers, that's the way they got to be thinking, and let them do it. Everything will flow, because there's no way they can cover all the people the Eagles have. And they still got that running game there, but they need to just not as much Jalen running the ball. Don't do it, because every time he touches it, it's a risk.
How about
when
this?
He takes off. Yeah.
Will the Eagles have 3 pass catchers with 1,000 yards?
I think they're going to get near it, but probably not. They're going to get
if Goddard doesn't get hurt, Gary, he probably sniffing 1,000.
You know what? I think they're going to get very close to it. The thing is, that means, they could do it. There's no way, there's no reason they couldn't do this, because you're going to be picking your poison every time you play them. I mean, they got so much to throw at you,
and now adding Swift too. I mean, that's going to open those guys up more.
Now I think you make a good point, because there are going to be times when they have got to be thinking, screen. We cannot let this guy get out, and so he's another weapon.
Yeah,
he's the best pass catching running back that they've had here. I mean, he's better than the guys they've had, even though I think some of the youngsters are good, but Swift he is dynamite out of that backfield. You already got to worry about Goddard. You got A.J. Brown. You got Smith, Devontae Smith. There's no way. And then we haven't even talked about if Quez Watkins will play the way he's capable, play with more confidence. But I see a big year. I think they can really be so explosive. And I think Jalen is another year of all of the confidence building, as well as seeing everything again. When a quarterback sees it, the more times he sees it, the quicker he is able to recognize things. So I just think that he will see things that much quicker this year.
Gary, do you think on defense they have 3 dudes with double-digit sack years?
No, I don't know about that. They may get near it because – you still got, Hassan Reddick. Okay, you still got him. Sweat, I think, coming up. You got both of those guys coming from outside. But I think that, you're going to get the young kid in there, So they're still going to be doing some rotation. So I think you get near that, but I don't know if they do 3. And that's all going to depend on the defensive coordinator. I mean, I like the way the dude talks. I mean, but I don't know what kind of defensive coordinator he's going to be. I went over there and I heard him talk and everything, but I don't know what kind of defensive coordinator he's going to be. So I think to say 3 over 10, that's a lot, man. But I definitely 2 over 10.
How about this, Gary?
But they'll be close to it.
One of the guys at the NovaCare Center, one of my spies, was listening to you and me talking. You know what he said to me? He goes, Sills, don't overcook it. Because I said something about Matt Patricia being brought in. And the first thing that this guy said to me was, he goes, well, let me ask you something. Are we playing the Dolphins this year? And I go, yeah. He goes, are we playing the Bills? He goes, I go, yeah. He goes, are we playing the Jets?
The Jets, yeah.
I go, yeah. And I go, we opening with the Patriots? I go, yeah. He goes, Howie Roseman brought in a hitman for the AFC East teams. And he goes, you're right on his disguises. Yeah. You're right on that. But here's a guy that's been game planning 18 years in that division. That hire looks even. He goes, everyone's missed it, Sills. Yeah. We brought him in because we're opening with New England and we're playing the AFC East this year. I mean, kind of makes sense now, right?
Hey, I've seen teams do that in the NFL. How much it benefited them from a standpoint, even doing things like signing a guy off of a team, guy that was on that team, they see he's out there, they grab him, and they want to pick his brain, So I definitely think he's got something he can add, information about all these teams. So I think he does bring something to the party, from that standpoint. Not to mention, the guy's been around a lot of winning. So
I think he's a hell of a coordinator. I mean, he's got 3 Super Bowl rings, and I think he's going to be an impact. Look, head coach, not everybody's made out to be a head football coach. I got another question. I got another question for you here. Who do you think has a bigger impact on the Philadelphia Eagle defense in 2023 between these 2 players, Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis?
Well, I'd probably say Jalen Carter.
Huh?
I probably would say him because I think he's made for the pro game. He's a better pass rusher. I don't know how Jalen's coming back and how they're going to utilize him, but Jalen Carter is a pro defensive tackle right now. He just has all the elements. Jordan Davis is developing. He can be a factor against the run, but his pass rushing. He's starting afresh. He didn't do much at Georgia. Whereas I saw the quickness of Jalen Carter, man, getting skinny, he already does that.
Great hips.
Yeah.
Great hips.
He's already got that. And a lot of times he's going to be one-on-one. Come on. They're not going to say, oh man, they got all these other guys to worry about. Hey, we got to watch this rookie in the middle. No, they cannot be focused on him. So a lot of times he's going to be one-on-one, and I think he's going to get the chance to do some things. I'm really interested in seeing the progress that Jordan Davis makes, and he's been working with the coach, and they've been working with him and everything. Now, he's got a tremendous potential, but I think that Jalen Carter comes in. I've already seen him on tape make moves and have the explosiveness that's going to give a guy who's one-on-one with him, give him headaches. Plus, I've seen him run over people, and then you got to worry about a guy who's got the quickness to go around you, and he can run over you. You got to think about all that. That's a lot for an offensive guard or center to deal with.
That's going to be a formidable duo if those guys can put it all together here. Yes. 2 last questions for you here. Who has a tougher task this year? Brian Johnson not screwing the offense up, or Sean Desai building the defense back up?
Now that is the question. I would go ahead and go with Desai having a tougher job because Johnson has Nick Sirianni there. See, and Nick Sirianni already had a hand in everything, and he was overlooking everything. Yeah, he wasn't calling the plays, but he's there listening, and he knows what he wants. And this is his offense, really. So the orchestrator, really the designer of the offense, is still there, even though he's not calling the plays. He's still there. So I think there's an advantage there and plus, he's not new. He's been there. He's been around when they were doing everything last year. So I think that he has more help. Desai, on the other hand, he's the guy running the show. I mean, he doesn't have somebody looking right over his shoulder that knows what he wants. It's going to be his call. And he's new to a lot of these guys, so he's got to find out and get a feel for them. Johnson was already there, so that's the advantage I think he has, is that the offensive coordinator has been there. He knows the quarterback. He knows what the quarterback likes, all of that. Whereas defensively, you got a guy that's new.
Let me tell all of you people here something here, that this question that I'm going to ask, and I don't even know if he had ever met him, but I had met him, and he lived in Stanford. And I'm going to ask you a question about Jim Brown. Mm-hmm. Who had a bigger impact in your life as an athlete, Jim Brown or Jackie Robinson? And by the way, folks, Gary and I lived in the same city with Jackie. My dad played golf with him.
Yeah,
you're a couple of years older than me, so I'm sure you, when you were a kid and youth sports, ran into Jackie.
Came to my little league banquet. I'm 10 years old, man. Come on.
I mean, Robustelli, and
I didn't know the significance.
Oh my God, Gary!
My dad's trying to tell me, but did I really know the significance? I got Jackie Robinson at my little league banquet.
Yeah, Gary, get this. My dad's playing golf with him at Hubbard Heights, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my dad goes like this: "Hey, this guy's really, you'll know." And I looked the stats up. I go, "Guy had 100 home runs. He hit 298. Who the hell's this guy?" And he goes, "You'll know later on." And then, he had a really talk like, really high voice and all this and that.
Yeah.
That silver hair.
The silver hair
fixture in Stanford, Pound Ridge, that whole area up there.
That's right.
But who had a bigger impact for you as an athlete growing up? Was it Jim Brown or was it Jackie?
Well, that's tough, man, because I remember my dad. I saw Jim Brown play some right at the end of his career. That's when I started looking at football on TV, and I wore number 32 when I was playing in high school. Because of Jim Brown, man. But I probably would say Jackie, because I met him.
Yeah,
I met him.
Me too.
This is during those early years.
Yeah.
Even though I met Jim too. That's really tough for me to say, because Jim Brown did so much when it came to not only playing and everything, but the way he left the game and went into acting, and he would come in and advise guys, and he always was really trying to help as many people as he could, to bring them along and get people to be the best they could be, whether they're athletes or not. So maybe I'd have to go ahead and change that and say Jim Brown, man, because I played football. I didn't go on and play in baseball. If I played baseball on the pro level and everything,
but you could have. And I'll tell you one last story before I let you go here.
Uh-huh.
I don't think people realize me and Pazzulli looked up to this guy right here, because Pazzulli played like 6-7 years in the NFL too, played with Catholic with me. And I go, "Who the hell is this Gary Cobb?" He goes, "The whole Cobb family. I mean, your brother, everybody." We're like, "These guys own Stanford."
Yeah.
I mean, they own it. Hey, you ever see Cobb hit a home run? Guy knocked it over here. The guy did this. Guy hit 788. I'm going like, oh my, he went to USC? Me and Pazzulli, man, we looked up to you so much, man. I don't think you realize that, Gary. God, you You set the path for all of us because a lot of kids after you ended up going Craig Bingham, all them guys, right?
Yeah.
All them guys would go on and play college ball and into the NFL because you set the path. And also Bobby V.
Yeah, that's right, Bobby V. Well, I mean, I appreciate that, and a lot of times you don't know who's watching when you're doing things. That is true, but I really
saw you play in the Babe Ruth League.
Yeah, and I always felt good about that, and I know when I would see people and they had a connection with Stanford and everything. I really appreciate it because great baseball. I mean, great sports town, man. I mean, and a lot of good people. I really just
Mickey Leone.
Oh man, good people, man. Coach Leone. Oh man, just great guys, and they were honest with you, and was set a great example. And man, I had a great time growing up, man, playing ball, man. That's why I'm here talking about it now, man.
What made the decision for you not to go to baseball? Because I tell everyone
USC, man.
Were you drafted?
Yeah, I was. But the big thing it was because, when I went to USC, they had a great baseball program, but come on, it was nowhere near the football program. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere on the campus anywhere, man. You were a USC football player. It's a whole different thing, man.
And Mark McGuire and Tom Seaver played.
That's right. Yeah, they had all those guys.
Yep. Randy Johnson. Is Randy Johnson a Southern Cal guy too? Right?
No, he's not a Southern Cal guy, but they had a number of others. They had some good pitchers there and things. But
Jack Del Rio played.
Yep, Jack Del Rio, he played there. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, man, a lot of great baseball. Bobby V and all that. Hey, Gary, always great to catch up with you, my friend. I'll tell Keith you said hi. Thanks a lot, my friend.
All right, have a good one.
You got it, everyone. Thank you so much. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Weather forecasting is a team game.
We rely on each other every day, updating the models and passing along new critical information.
We have a team of 5 experienced meteorologists and a specialized weather producer, Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Sometimes what I see in the model, Cecily could see something different.
That's when we come together as a team to make our most accurate prediction.
And all of this backed by more than 100 AccuWeather scientists. It's a team game.
And we have the best team in town.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Messa & Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com. Messa & Associates, the toughest injury firm in Philadelphia.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Celebrating the life of your loved one is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish. When the matriarch of the Dalloway family died suddenly at 82 years old, Life Celebrations by Givenish stepped in.
They will make this the easiest thing that I know it's not easy, but they will make this as easy as possible.
Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
I just know that my dad, who is in charge of everything, was not in charge of anything at that point when my mom passed. And again, just another shout out to this place for making it easy.
Turning tragedy into a celebration of life, no matter how hard, is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish. Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
EAGLES, Eagles.
National Football Show. Appreciate y'all coming aboard. Thank you very much. Please hit the like button. Our friend Keith Jones, the president of the Flyers, will step in with us at 5:30. Seth Joyner tomorrow will jump aboard with us. Bruce Arians will be with us on Wednesday. We appreciate all of you coming aboard. Thank you so much. Hey, Big Sills, just for a laugh, what number does Jalen rank this year on Chris Sims' quarterback board? That'll be an interesting take. By the way, I saw a lot of people putting their top 5 players of all time. And I even saw Jim Irsay put his top 5 or maybe it was top 4, whatever. He didn't have Peyton Manning in it, nor should he. Peyton Manning's not the top 5 players in the history of the NFL. He's not even the greatest Colt quarterback. I mean, Unitas is. Out of sight, out of mind. Peyton Manning's not a bit. Can you imagine Unitas playing in today's NFL? Couldn't mug Raymond Berry? Are you crazy? Johnny Unitas in today's NFL, where you couldn't hit quarterbacks, and Raymond Berry could, and John Mackey could run down the sidelines, and you couldn't hit those guys. Those guys would throw for 6,000, 7,000 yards too. And they played a ton of years getting murdered. I just don't believe that Peyton Manning's a better quarterback than Johnny Unitas. I just do not. Out of sight, out of mind, though. So I put these 5 guys down as my 5 best players in NFL history. It's funny, man. This thing has changed a little, but not much. There's only been one guy added to my top 5. Number 1, I got Brady. I think Brady's the greatest football player ever to play. Played the most important position. And I think he's the greatest football player of all time. I got LT too. I think Lawrence Taylor is the greatest defensive football player that's ever lived. Junior 2, thank you. I got Joe Montana, number 3. I think Montana, here's another guy played in today's era. You couldn't stop him. I got Rice 4. Jerry Rice is the greatest offensive weapon. That Montana one, I debated. Montana, I can't do it, man. I can't do it I can't. It's Brady 1. Boy, this one here. It's Brady 1, LT, Jim Brown. It's not Montana. It's Brown, Rice, and Reggie White. I think those are your 5. Could you put anyone else ahead of Brady? And you watch this. You guys could probably rank them any way you want, these 5, right? Brady, LT, Jim Brown, Rice, and Reggie. I don't think you would omit any one of these guys, nor do I think you would add anyone. Who else would you add to that mix? Walter Payton? Maybe. Joe? Maybe. Okay? Maybe. But I don't think you can omit any one of those 5 guys. I think those are the 5 greatest players that have ever played in pro football. Randy Moss is not greater than Rice. Rice had 200 touchdowns. Do you understand? 215. Not to say that he's not an electric player and probably more gifted athletically. But I would say this to you, 215. Jerry Rice has 200 touchdowns, and the next closest guy is like 50 away. He averaged 2 catches for his 17 year or 20 years. 3 catches a game, and he had 200 touchdowns. To be one of the greatest, you have to literally be unstoppable, and not many players are unstoppable. You have an unstoppable list. Rice has more TDs caught than most quarterbacks have thrown. That's tone. That's insanity. So he's right. Do you know that Jerry Rice has caught more touchdown passes than Joe Namath threw? Or Bradshaw? Steve Young. Can I ask you why you left Jerome off the top 10 Eagles? I personally would have taken out Jason Peters and had Jerome in the top 5. I just think that some of those guys, Jason Peters, is better than Jerome. I can't do it with emotion, without emotion on that. Jerome just didn't play long enough. I think Jerome had the reason I didn't put him in the top 10 Eagles, because I don't think he played long enough. Jerome was going to be an Eagle Hall of Famer. There's no getting around that. He'd have been an Eagle Hall of Famer. Peters played forever. And a state, by the way, Jason Peters, Lane Johnson. One played the left tackle position. That's an advantage, Peters. Man, is that close. That's a spectacular question. Jason Peters or Lane Johnson, if I had to put one of those guys in the Hall of Fame and they're up at the same time, theoretically, if they were, who would you put in, Sells? If I was asked this question, which I get asked every year, personally, I think Jason Peters and Lane Johnson, I think they're better than Joe Thomas. Oh, man. Ken says, Jerome, we love, guaranteed not enough all pros at the position. That's the only reason, Ken. Ken, it's the only reason. Because Jerome needed to play a little longer. And I wanted to give respect to the guys who put a lot of years in Philadelphia. I mean, I like to look around a 10-year mark, something in that room, you know. It's super tough. Lane was always more healthy, but Jason Peters at his peak was a brick wall lined with titanium. Man, dude, his punches, and plus he's a left tackle. I put more into that because you're protecting the blind side of your guy. Jason Peters is a bitch, man. In his heyday, man. And Jason Peters or Trent Williams. Oh, man. I don't know. Boy, these are really hard questions you guys are asking me. The hardest position in football. Backside of the quarterback. Both Lane and Peters didn't even start on the O-line. Peters was an undrafted tight end, and Lane was a former quarterback. That's insane. That just shows you why they're, again, they're athletic. Those are athletes. You know, usually back in the day, you got fat guys playing O-line. Now, today, you got these guys like Lane Johnson and Larry Allen. The best offensive lineman I've ever seen is Larry Allen. Bruce Matthews, Mike Munchak. Jimbo Colvert, Keith Van Horn. Lane's better than Keith Van Horn. Peters is better than Van Horn. Bruce Matthews or Jason Peters or Lane. Man, those guys are all in that. Like, if you're making a conversation for Lane, see, when Lane comes up for the Hall of Fame, I don't think it's going to be a long conversation, and I don't either with Peters. And I would do this with Peters. When his time comes up, I'm going to say this. I go, did he dominate the position during his era? He surely did. I believe Jason Peters is better than Tony Boselli. And I love Tony Boselli. I believe that is Lane better than Tony Boselli? Probably. JM says that Boselli didn't play long enough, and yet he made the Hall of Fame, JM. That's a conversation that you now have about guys like Sayers and Boselli and Terrell Davis. Those guys didn't play long, still made it. I think Sayers went into the Hall of Fame and he was 32 or 28. He may have been 28 when he went to the Hall of Fame. You imagine that? I think Gale Sayers was like 28 years old when he went to the Hall of Fame. It's something stupid, man, like that. 6 years. I don't think Terrell Davis played any longer, though. Yeah, man. Sayers played 6 years. Think of that. So 6 years, he comes out of college. He was 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. He's probably 31 or 32 when he went to the Hall of Fame. Trey Thomas or Jason Peters. Trey's a great player, but that's a different. Hey, listen, Trey is a fine ball player, and I mean a green jacket wearer, and he is a really good football player. And I don't want to disrespect him, but Trey Thomas is a heck of a player. Peters is a different level, though. Those Peters and Lane Johnsons and Trent Williams and like Larry Allen guys, those guys are, like I would say this to you, Trey Thomas and Nate, just to give you some comparison. Who was the tackle? It skips my mind. Who's the tackle that played in Dallas all those years on the other side? That was the all-pro guy that played there for a ton of years there in Dallas during the Aikman years. He's kind of like that guy, Trey Thomas. He's a great ball player too, but he's kind of like right there. Not Larry Allen. Larry Allen's a different dude. I'm talking about the offensive tackle that they had out there. God, what was his name? It skips my mind. Played offensive tackle. Trey's kind of like that. And Trey's better than Bubba Paris. He's better than that. Trey's a great ball player, though. I can't think of that Dallas Cowboy offensive tackle. Played there forever. Eric Williams, that's it. Thank you, Hebrew. Eric Williams. Eric Williams and Trey Thomas are probably the same kind of guy. John Runyon, I would compare to Keith Van Horn. Something like that. Van Horn. The guy who played with the Hogs. He was somebody like that. Okay. John Runyon is a great ball player. Really great. Okay. Power Hour's coming up. Our friend Keith Jones, the new president of the Flyers, is going to join us. He's on his way to the rink. We hope to catch up with him. We're going to reset. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sil's Power Hour. The magic phone has been ringing. Guess who has been absent from today's OTAs? And maybe a new member of the Dallas Cowboys. Do you want to take a guess? Man, this one gonna hurt a little bit. Okay? Dalvin Cook. No, not Dalvin Cook. Guess who could be traded to the Cowboys today or tomorrow? Oh, no, it's not Derrick Henry. Let's see if you guys could get it. Tone, you got it. The second one. Anton. Lands right on it. Looks like the Cowboys and the Cardinals are trying to work a deal out now. DeAndre Hopkins is not at OTAs today. And it looks like they're trying to put a deal together to bring DeAndre Hopkins to Dallas. My God. Ho, ho. Whew. That might sting a little. Hopkins, Brandon Cooks, and CeeDee Lamb? I don't know. Tony Pollard catching footballs out of the backfield too? I don't know. You might want to coordinate that up. You might want to come up with a scheme for that one. Yeah. Holy shit. DeAndre Hopkins. See, and get this, Buffalo today made some deals for a tight end and a wideout. And everyone in Buffalo was like, it's not Hopkins. Everyone thought he was headed to Buffalo. Dude, the word is that Hopkins, right now, Cardinals are taking all kinds of calls. The Jets are involved. Okay, the Jets, the Chiefs. Can you imagine DeAndre Hopkins in Kansas City? Might as well just give him the Super Bowl trophy. Hopkins and Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City would be unbelievable. What are the Cowboys able to give up, though? Yeah, and the money, because they're not that great in cap money. Cap's an issue for that. It'd have to be a sign and trade. They completely would have to restructure that contract because there's a shitload of money owed to him this year, and there's a massive cap number next year. So you would have to do a restructure and trade, in my opinion, for that thing to work. But then it means this. See, if you do shit like that, okay, and you restructure, the Cardinals are going to want draft picks. They're going to want picks. What would you give up for DeAndre Hopkins? Their cap situation is putrid. They're going to need Howie in the building to make that contract work. That's right. They're going to have a restructure and trade. What would you give up for DeAndre Hopkins? Would you give a one-up for him? Man, no way. I'm going to pass on that. Would I give a two-up? I would. I'd give a two-up for him. I'd give a 2 and a 3, actually, for him. But I couldn't give a one-up for him. He's older. He's coming off an injury. Still productive as hell. He was on pace for 120 catches. He would have had as many yards as A.J. Brown. He's not hurt a lot. He's got a ton of wide receiver yards. And he would have a quarterback that would actually be worth the shit throwing him the ball. 2 2s for him. I think he's 31, 32, Yale. Still got shit. He's still got gas in the tank, though, man. He's having a good year last year. Boy, if the Cowboys landed that. If they, would I be more concerned about the Cowboys getting Hopkins or Henry? Well, I'd want to attack the Eagles with DeAndre Hopkins. Derrick Henry running the ball in between the tackles, testing out whether or not the Eagle run defense is good enough. Remember, every move you make is dictating on what the deficiencies are for the Eagles. You got to first beat Philly if you're Dallas. See, everyone used to chase Dallas. Dallas is chasing Philly like everybody else in the NFC East. Every single move I make now has to be with the understanding I have to attack Philly's weakness. And the weakness is on Philadelphia right now. I don't think they have no, that's not right. Because they have a great run game because of their O-line. But I don't think they have a lot of skill in the running back position. Getting DeAndre Swift has upgraded that because now it makes him more versatile on being able to be a pass catcher. And you got a screen game potentially that you could develop back there. So that's improved. The other weakness, there's none really on offense. Tight ends, great. The receivers are great. I mean, what makes the whole Eagle offense spectacular is the offensive line. The center's a Hall of Famer. The right tackle's a Hall of Famer. The left tackle is going to be a Pro Bowler. The left guard is already a Pro Bowler. The receivers are sensational. I mean, the whole offense is just unbelievable. Defense, you got holes everywhere there. Or I should say this, lack of experience everywhere, especially in the inner core of the defense. You know, the heart of the defense has been taken away. The tackle position's thin, the linebackers are thin, and the safety position's new. And just because you draft these guys, that doesn't mean that has fixed it. You have no idea if that's fixed it. Last year, at least you went into the game going, I got Hardgrave and Fletcher Cox. There's a certainty there. You didn't know what Kaiser White looked like, but you knew who TJ Edwards was. Your safety position was a little bit up in the air because you didn't know what the slot corner was going to look like. CJ shows up, leads the NFL in interceptions. Holes or questions? Well, Callie, I think they're both. You're clearly not. You clearly have. Well, the D tackle position, is it a hole? That's a good one. Because potentially you could be an upgrade with Carter and Fletcher and Jordan. So I think it's a question, not a hole. You're right. The linebacker is a hole and questions. Questions are, can Dean play? The other one is you're not deep at it. So it's both. And safety position, questions, not a hole. Lack of experience. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But if I'm Dallas, who better to attack that defense and those linebackers? The best third down, one of the best third down receivers in National Football League history is DeAndre Hopkins. Okay? D-Hop was asked what are his top 5 quarterbacks he would like to play with. His answer was Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. Hey, I'll tell you what, Tone, that Lamar to Baltimore, can you imagine Lamar Jackson throwing the football to I don't know if that would sit right with Dak. Having DeAndre Hopkins? I don't know how having DeAndre Hopkins is a bad thing. Here, can you imagine Baltimore having, the fact D-Hop didn't mention, wide receivers are weirdos anyway. Who cares? Just come catch the ball. You put him in Baltimore with Odell Beckham and the kid they drafted. Now we're talking about something here. If they give Prescott DeAndre Hopkins and they still don't win a playoff game, it'll be Prescott's last year. Agreed. Hey, the big question mark is this. This year, he's making $49.6 million. Next year, there's like a $60 million cap hit. I don't know what Dallas is going to do. This has got to be the year that the Cowboys look at this and go, okay, do you really want to continue to walk backwards paying this quarterback? And see, to me, when it comes to the Cowboys and Dak, okay, if you want to move off him, what are you moving to? Now, do you want to play the quarterback charade game like they do in San Francisco, where you don't really know what you get every year? Hey, maybe you want to take a gamble, trade Dak to San Francisco, and you trade for Trey Lance. I don't know. You trade him there. Maybe you trade Dak to Green Bay, Jordan Love. I don't know. I mean, you've got to do something to get cheaper at that position. Okay? I mean, to me, here, especially with the way everyone is going now with the run, the RPO offense, and you're starting to see, again, you got to stick with what is working in Philly if you're Dallas. And so maybe getting one of these RPO guys like Trey Lance in to Dallas, and you get cheaper. You're not going to pay Trey Lance a king's ransom like you are with Dak Prescott, where you're going nowhere with. That's a lot of money. The Cowboys right now, again, you see, this is once again what has made what Howie Roseman has done even more. If I'm Dallas, I'm in a panic mode. Here's why. Because Howie Roseman came up with an innovative way to structure a contract that's not going to do what the Cowboys have. Do you remember all last year? I'm sure many of you do. Me saying this, once you start paying this guy, you're not going to have that team. And I was 1,000% sold that was going to happen because it always happens. Shit, we still see. Look at the contract that the guy in New York just signed. I mean, look at Daniel Jones's contract. Hurts gets a contract, and they still don't do it. And you're like, why would you sign that deal? Look at Lamar's deal. Lamar's cap hits are high still. Why would you not? It's because they don't want to give the money up front. See, the Eagles are not afraid. The Eagles are not, they're an organization that's not afraid to pay their guys. The NFL decided that the 49ers needed more help, so they put an extra quarterback ruling in there. Call it the Purdy rule. That's funny. Prescott and Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, the healthy Michael Gallup with solid tight end play. Zeke is in his prime. Dak just doesn't have it. And I like Dak, but the only time he has it seems, is against Philly. Watch the Big Sales Miami highlights yesterday. You were a beast, my man. Didn't realize you played with Danny Stubbs, another former Eagle. Oh, that's right. Stubby K did play for the Eagles a little bit. He was on my left side, Jerome on my right side. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Danny played, I think he played with Baird a little bit too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think he did. Man, Dallas getting Hopkins, I don't know. They've got to do things to combat what Philly's doing. And this Dak Prescott thing, I mean, the money that he is going to make this year and next year, he's got to – who would you say is under the most pressure this year of all the quarterbacks in the NFL? You think Dak has the most pressure to win? Or do you think because Jerry doesn't care about – I got to think Jerry cares about it. Is it Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson? Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Dak. I don't think Jalen – see, Jalen, I don't think you play that. I don't think Jalen plays that way. I don't. I don't think he cares about the pressure. I think he welcomes it. Bringing Hopkins in is a sexy move and would drive ticket prices, but it doesn't change their culture. Prescott has more pressure on him than any quarterback in the league. That's what Tone's saying. Let me write that down. I like that question. Dak, Kyler Murray. I'll tell you what, if Kyler Murray doesn't show me something, I'm going to move off that guy quick. I am going to move off that guy as soon as it's financially feasible for me to. In the next 2 years, if Kyler Murray doesn't show me anything, I'm moving off that kid. I am not going to sit around and wet nurse a kid who I'm not sure even wants to be there. Go back to the A's. Shit, this kid may be even thinking about playing baseball. I don't know what he's thinking. I'm moving that guy if that doesn't work. It's not happening here. To me, again, it's all about culture inside the building. This is one of the absolutely coolest things that you see here when we're talking about building a culture. And a friend of mine who's been in broadcasting for many years is now the president of the Philadelphia Flyers, and he's our friend Keith Jones. And Keith joins us now here. Keith, I appreciate you doing this, man. Thank you so much. I know you're on the way to the rink now.
Yeah, I actually made it here, Dan, getting ready. I'm actually sitting in the stands hoping that they don't start firing off some pregame testing. I can tell you that. But, yeah, I'm excited about the opportunity with the Flyers and also about the game here tonight with Carolina and Florida going at it. It's been a very good series so far.
Keith, tell me something. Is this something that you always looked and maybe wanted to do? Or is this something that just developed and it was a new challenge for you? I know how much you love broadcasting. Was this just something that the stars lined up correctly for it to work?
Yeah, that is the best way to describe it, Dan. everything just seemed to fall into place. And it is the only team, the only organization that I would have ever considered this type of role. I've lived in Philadelphia for the last 25 years, did morning radio for many years with Angelo Cataldi, and got a great sense for what the city was all about throughout that experience. Was doing Flyers games throughout that as well and getting to connect with the fans in that regard. And I owe so much to the city that I felt like I have something to give back. And I'm going to try, to get this team back on track, get it.
Oh, Keith, you still there? Let's see if we can reconnect here with Keith a little bit here, because I got some questions here. I'd love to follow up. Keith, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey,
Did I cut off? Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, that's okay. Just a little bit there. Keith, let me throw this at you with culture. We're watching something in the NBA playoffs right now. We're watching what Pat Riley has developed down with the Miami Heat. It's a bulldog mentality. It's about the organization. It's about the team. How important is that for you to bring guys with vision that you have on the type of culture that you want to see? Because to me, what I'm watching with the Eagles too, Keith, this comes down and it trickles down, man. If you don't have that culture, I don't care how many stars you have, you're not going to win. How important is that for you?
Sorry, Dan, the signal's just cutting out here inside the arena. So
can you hear me, Keith, right now?
Yeah, I can. It just cut out on me, but I heard what you were talking about with Pat Riley and the Heat, and there's no question that is something to really delve into. There's no doubt that you need quality people that are in positions to make your team come together. Culture is a word that's used often. Really, it's building relationships within where people leave the environment that they're in, the working environment, and feel good about what they're doing. And whatever their role is, they're contributing to the team's success. So those are all the things that we want to try to build with the Philadelphia Flyers, and successful teams have done that throughout all of sports.
Keith, I'll ask you two questions. I know you got a role here. First, I'll ask you about one thing that I was talking with a bunch of NHL guys and how the Vegas guys built that organization. They didn't really have a cap. Did you ever have a problem with the way that Vegas and the Knights were built and the way that they put that organization together, where back in the day, people had to really struggle for a little bit and they were able not to have to deal with a cap? Did you ever have a problem with the way that Vegas built that team with different rules?
Not really, because they paid so much, Dan. And in doing that, they upped the value on every team in the National Hockey League. You look at what teams are selling for now, including the Ottawa Senators, and the prices are skyrocketing because of prices that came into the game with expansion teams. I think that's contributed to it, amongst other things. But I don't feel bad about that situation. You do feel for teams like Florida that did not have the same luxuries, and a big reason why for many years franchises like the Florida Panthers have had difficulties making the playoffs. But I think those advantages are well earned, especially with the price that Vegas and Seattle both paid for their recent expansion teams.
Keith, why is Vegas up 2-0 over Dallas in this series so far?
It's a tight series. There's no doubt. Dallas had game 2. It looked like they were going to skate to victory and had that late collapse. Very evenly played series. I would suspect Dallas will get things even with a couple of wins at home, but Vegas is impressive defensively. They're getting lots of stars contributing, including Jack Eichel. That his play has just been outstanding. Great to see him involved in the playoffs. The goaltending has been a lot of different guys jumping in there, but the strength of Vegas is their defense. And I think that's ultimately why they'll win the series, but I do think Dallas will get things even with a couple of home wins.
Last one for you here. How surprised are you what the Panthers are doing to Carolina in this series?
Yeah, there's been moments where Carolina looked like they were going to take over a game, like in the first period of game number 2, but Florida's a resilient team. They're a team that really believes. Remind me a lot of the LA Kings back in 2012, I believe, on one of their Stanley Cup runs as an 8th seed that eventually resulted in a Stanley Cup championship. The stars are shining. Their goaltender has been incredible. Bobrovsky, much like Jonathan Quick, and Matthew Tkachuk is doing his part to ensure victories late in games and really late at night sometimes. So they've been impressive, and I think they're going to be really difficult to stop. But Carolina's a team that competes extremely hard, plays consistently the same way, and I guess they'll go with Frederik Andersen tonight as he gets the net back. He is an outstanding netminder. It's going to take a lot for Florida to go up 3-0.
Yeah, well, Carolina will always be the Hartford Whalers to me. But hey, Keith, maybe at the end of the day here now, maybe you are the more famous guy out of your home city than Gretzky. I mean, now, you're running the whole shebang now. I don't know. I told Wayne you were coming on. He's like, look at Jonesy here, man. What's going on here?
He is the best. He had a great call with Gretz going back, I guess about 7-8 days ago when I was talking to him about the job. He said, well, I'll see you at the final because we are working it is TNT this year. And he says, I'll be the guy with a resume in his back pocket. I started laughing. He is the best. He's been such a pleasure to really get to know here well over the last couple of years. A hometown guy, but he's 6 or 7 years older than I am. Good friends with his family, but now great friends with him. And as you know, Dan, if you're friends with Wayne Gretzky, you're doing things right.
Absolutely. Well, Keith, I'm going to let you go here. And I know that you had to have been torn between two worlds, getting back in it and really being in it and building something that's going to have your name on it. And broadcasting means a lot to you. But there's always something I tell everyone about Keith Jones. Anything he's in it to win it. So, Keith, good luck tonight. Good luck on the calls. We'll be in touch, and I'm looking so forward to you building this Flyers organization back up to what it should be. Thank you so much for doing this, Keith. Have a great call.
Yeah, always good to catch up with you, Dan. Look forward to it in the future. Thanks very much.
You got it. Keith Jones, the president of hockey operations for the Philadelphia Flyers. We're going to take a timeout. Going to run you to the top. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News?
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left. Fake a mom. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Sills, hit the like button. Seth Joyner tomorrow. We will talk to the legendary Eagle linebacker tomorrow, and then Bruce Arians will join us on Wednesday. You think the NFL's in a good place right now with Amazon TV viewership down 42%? 42% Thursday Night Football was down. So is streaming really a big deal? Is it the future? Is it now? 42% ratings or viewership. NFL's always in a good place, says Tone. Yeah, well, anytime you see minus 42, that's not a place the league lays in. I mean, you get dog shit games that get great numbers. That's why you see that Thursday night schedule kind of increased, and you're looking. Get this. You know what the commissioner's doing this week? The commissioner is trying to get a flex schedule for Thursday night football. Well, excuse me, but did you pass that by the union yet? You didn't negotiate that with the union. That just shows you. The National Football League, they're not partners with the players. Okay? They're not partners with the players. Oh yeah, well, let's debate whether or not we can flex Thursday. That's a negotiation deal. So what? You're just changing the game again? You're just going to rip the contract up that you have with the Players Association? Of course you are. You know why? Because the Players Association has no backbone. They have no backbone because the owners own them. You know why they own them? They own them with fear. Non-guaranteed contracts. Hey, you don't like it? You don't have to play here. The only people we need are the quarterbacks. We don't give a shit about you. The commissioner this week is going to be negotiating whether or not to have flex. So they may be able to flex Thursday night games and also Sunday. Well, dude, if you had any kind of backbone as a union, you would talk what I talked about earlier, expanding the roster and getting another buy in there. I don't give a shit about that stuff. Oh, my God. Brian's right. One day, hey, dude, the days of the Super Bowl being free is just about over. Why in the world would you not put the Super Bowl on a pay-per-view event and collect more money that way? $50 to watch the Super Bowl. All the bars. What are you going to tell me? You don't think that the bars and people are going to pay for that? They're going to pay for it. The NFL is going to put the Super Bowl on pay-per-view. That's where it's heading. The most watched television show every year is the Super Bowl. Why wouldn't they make you pay for it? You don't think so? Well, okay, well, here, get this. So you pay $1 billion, almost $2 billion for Thursday night package. You pay $2 billion for the Sunday night package. You pay another $2 billion for Monday night. That's not even counting CBS's deal, Fox's deal, and ESPN's deal. That when they have those games on a Saturday or playoff games. The league, man, the money the league made. The league doesn't see. I think you guys, the NFL is the only league that doesn't give a shit about attendance. I don't care about attendance. That's why when Santa Clara doesn't have any fans in it, or some of these stadiums are empty, like Washington, I don't give a shit. 97% of the operating budget for all these teams and the revenue comes from TV. You know, Pepsi told me this stat years ago. Do you know that 97% of the NFL fans have never been to games? 97% of football fans, professional football fans, have never seen a game live. They've seen it on the tube. Think of that. And the money just kind of lines right up. 97% of the budget and everything that the league makes every year comes from TV. Merchandising and Ticket sales. It's becoming NBA has to have ticket sales. That's why they bitch about it. NHL has to have ticket sales to be a viable league. Major League Baseball has to have attendance sales. Not the NFL. They don't give a shit if you're there or not. What they're going to do eventually, from what I'm hearing, they're going to have in-game prop bets that you could do from your seat. And when you sit down, you're going to be able to go like this. Inside the stadium, you're going to be able to go Jalen Hurts, 2 touchdowns, $50 first half. And you're going to be able to start making prop bets. And the league's going to get $1 per bet every single time that you make a bet. You get 70,000 fans making 10 bets. Add that up for how much that will be for Jeffrey Lurie, who owns the Eagles. Although his fan base, if they made 2 bets at $1, he makes $140,000 just on off a $5 bet. I mean, then you start making 10, 15 bets. You're talking about maybe a guy clearing over $3-4 million a game just in prop bets. Where you're going to be able to do this is what the league they haven't figured out yet how to monetize that. They just haven't figured that out yet. That would be incredible. Wouldn't be surprised. I'm not a gambler either. I'm not a gambler either. I'll play the quarters and when I go to Vegas and such like that, and I'll play some of the slot machines. But I'm not a gambler either. All right. Jersey sales. This goes into the popularity of the most popular players in the NFL today as of May 22nd. Who do you think is the most popular? Actually, let's go from 10 up. Who is the 10th most popular player in the NFL, in your opinion, right now? Who would you put in the 10 hole? Tenth most popular NFL guy, jersey sales. This is a good indicator. League uses this as an indicator when it comes to players that they sell, when it comes to memorabilia, jerseys. The 10th most popular player, he doesn't even play. It's Tom Brady as of May 22nd. Number 9, the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields is number 9. Fan base. Well, look at it here. Patriot fan base, 10. Chicago fan base, 9. Makes sense. The 8th most popular football player, according to jersey sales, is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is in the top 10? I'm actually shocked. Jalen Hurts is the 8th most popular player, according to jersey sales, in the NFL. I'm stunned. This guy has climbed a mountain like I've never seen, and the mountain of success like nobody I have ever seen. I have never seen anything like this. His popularity, his play, the way people look at him. It's insanity. Justin Howie Roseman Jefferson is 7th. Look at that, how he could have had the 7th and the 8th. Justin Jefferson, with the greatness of Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball. Number 6 most popular player. Dak is back. Dak's more popular than Hurts? Hey, Arthur, what's really cool? My uncle won the Burt Bell Award. How you like that? Jalen and my uncle have a lot in common. No, the Cowboys are more popular than Hurts. Oh, there's a dig. No. CeeDee Lamb is number 5. CeeDee Lamb? Maybe Tone is right. How is CeeDee Lamb? If CeeDee Lamb played on the Philadelphia Eagles, he'd be Jalen Reagor in popularity. CeeDee Lamb is the 5th most popular player. Oh, it's Tone's right. It's the Cowboy thing. That's ridiculous. Joe Burrow is number 4. If Dak was in Minnesota, he wouldn't be. Dude, if Dak was in Minnesota, hey, Tone. If Dak was in Minnesota, he'd be white. I'm sorry. Oh, man. Dak and Kirk Cousins, you know what I think of that. If Bubby Brister was the quarterback of Dallas, he'd be 5th. Oh, man. Patrick Mahomes is 3rd. 3rd most popular? I thought he'd be 1. Micah Parsons is the 2nd most popular football player in the NFL? Come on. Dak Cousins. That's a funny line. Dak Cousins. Oh, man. Also, CeeDee Lamb is living off Michael Irvin's number 88. Andrew Pearson and Des Bryant. Reddick is better than Parsons. Pass rusher. Yes. And the number 1 most popular football player, and a guy I said is a star, Josh Allen, is the most popular NFL football player in the NFL. Or do you think it's Bills Mafia? Do you think it's Bills? Here, look at this here. Yeah, Josh Allen's number 1 jersey sell. So you got Bills number 1, Cowboys number 2, Chiefs number 3, Bengals, that's a shocker. Okay, that's an outlier. Since when do the Bengals have anybody that's worth a shit? Last time I can remember they had anybody, Chad Johnson, CeeDee Lamb, Cowboys. The Cowboys have 1, 2, 3. They got 3 players. Wait, 1, 2. They got 3 players in the top 10 for most popular players in the NFL. Well, I thought Mahomes, but Allen is not no surprise. Well, I think it's because of Bills Mafia. Josh Allen being number 1 is a real stat. How many Buffalo fans can you find in LA? Allen has real fans, unlike Dak. Yeah. So does Hurts. Look at some of the best fan bases here. Patriots are a good fan base. Bears are a good fan base. They just hate their team right now, but they're still going to support it. Hey, do you know what Chicago Bears, you know how they're supporting the Bears? They're throwing rocks at the stadium. Okay. See, when you're in Los Angeles or you're in New York, you just ignore it and don't go because you're not going to spend your money. If your team sucks in Philly, Buffalo, or in Chicago, you're going to have people outside throwing rocks at you when you leave the stadium and hot dogs at you. Okay? Those fan bases, they're going to show up and they're going to tell you what they think. Hey, you suck. Hey, you suck, man. I got one story for you. Hey, Yeah, you'll dig this. So I had a red vet. My first car I ever had was a red Corvette. And believe it or not, Norman Brayman got it for me. Here was the cool. Yeah, this is years and years removed. I think it's cool. I think it is. So Norman Brayman, hey, Tone, you're going to love this. My first car was a Corvette. In 2025 NFL draft will be in Green Bay. Will people show up? Yeah, Green Bay, absolutely. Well, they had to come over from Appleton. Green Bay's not that big, dog. Got to come over from Appleton. So I got a car. I got a Corvette. And Norman Brayman goes like this to me. He goes, okay, this is what I'm going to do. He goes, I'm going to charge you $1 a month. But when you get your contract with the NFL, it goes to $500 a month. It was a brand new Corvette, had 2 miles on it. And I went, fair enough. So my whole last year at Miami, I had this Corvette. Jimmy hated it. Jerome had a Grand National, a Mercedes. Jerome had like 10 cars. Hey, wait a minute. It gets better. So I get this car, and I really love this red vet. I mean, I did. Big Sills driving a red vet in South Florida. I don't. So then I get drafted to the Bucks. I drive it up there. I'm driving it. Here comes Sileo in his red Corvette. I come candy apple red too. And I pull up, man. Then I pulled to the stadium, and with some game we just got killed. This guy throws a hot dog at me, man. I'm walking out into the tunnel, Old Tampa Stadium. I'm going to our lockers. He throws his hot dog at me. He hits me in the neck. And he goes, hey, Sileo, I wish you fucking played like your car looks. You blow out loud. I looked at him and I went, he started laughing. I started eating the hot dog. And I go, I have to agree. He threw that hot dog, man. He hit me in the side of the head. Hey, Tone. That guy just goes, he throws it. And dude, ketchup. Oh, I had my helmet off like a dumbass. Ketchup and everything's here. And the hot dog sits right here. Hot dog sits right here. And I go like this. I look at the guy, goes, you fucking suck. Why can't you play as good as your car looked? You're right. Oh, man. He saw me pull up in a red vet. Threw a hot dog at me. Everyone starts laughing, man. I was walking in. Coaching staff looks at me, goes, you ate it? I go, what was I supposed to do? Throw it back at him? What is it? The one they serve in San Francisco? No, those are wieners. They serve the little wiener dogs in San Francisco. In the South and in Lincoln Financial in Philly, they serve actual man hot dogs. Okay, like a normal hot dog. There's some stadiums, like, I'm not going to say where, but they don't really serve you food. White wine spritzers is not something Big Sills is drinking at a ball game. It was me, Dan. Hey, Big Sills ain't fitting in no vet. Hey, I did. You should have seen the other thing I had. I had a Lotus Esprit. Here's the cars I've owned. I had a Maserati Quadriport. I had a Lotus Esprit. I had no right owning that thing. A Corvette, a 911. This was in my football time. Those 4 cars. I had them at once. I owned them at one time. Terrible mistake. Oh, man. And the vet. I owned all those cars at one time. And so my dad is with me. We buy this Lotus Esprit. Dude, I mean, you take a shoehorn to get me in. Hey, I fit in this thing. My dad's like, you do not fit in this thing. It's a mid-engine car too. And my dad's like, you do not fit in this thing. Yeah, I do. I fit in this thing. Well, don't you think? I mean, like I would have to have a Hot Wheels, like steering wheel to drive this Lotus Esprit. Because no. Just picture Big Sills in a Prius. No Priuses. If I got to plug it in, dog, that ain't working for me. Can you see Big Sills with a plug-in car going through the mountains? Shit, I couldn't get over the hills. You imagine me going across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge in a Prius? Shit, I get halfway over, man. That thing could start puttering that out. Like, what does it have? Electricity? Volts? What happened to Big Sills' Prius? Well, look at him. Hey, Big Sills had his Prius gave out. No. It takes a lot of power to move that guy's big ass across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. No electric cars. No, that ain't gonna happen for me. Yeah, that's not gonna work for me, man. Yeah, no. This other. Hey, so let me throw this at you here. Show you how these wide receivers are today. So why would Davante Adams cry about the way the Raiders are doing business in May? Why is he upset in May? You got a contract. There's a new quarterback. You're not playing any football. Why are you so upset with the direction of the Raiders in May? Why are you pissed off? What's your problem? You're not even in OTAs. I think the Raiders started OTAs. I think 20 teams started today OTAs. Why are you bitching about your organization and your team in May? You never hear that shit coming out of Philly. You never hear negativity about the Eagles and win a Super Bowl. You know, sometimes, I mean, after the Eagles went to the Super Bowl with T.O., that guy was bitching and moaning and doing sit-ups every day, right? Guy was making a scene of himself. You never see that. You never hear anyone go, well, Gardner Johnson did on the way out the door. Jonathan Gannon kind of threw some shade. Not crazy shade, though. Okay, not crazy shade. But why are you bitching about, like, the Raiders now? That just shows you. So he goes, yeah, I don't need Aaron Rodgers. Okay, well, I know he had a decent year last year. But isn't it to me, when you're a wide receiver, don't you think that's something even, hey, how about this one too, Yale? Don't you think if Justin Jefferson had somebody like Dak throwing him the ball, in theory, his star would be bigger? It's not that he's not putting numbers up, but when people look at Justin Jefferson, there's a debate on who the best wide receiver is. I actually think it's him. But his name recognition in the league, I think Davante Adams being away from Aaron Rodgers is taking some of that star power away from him. I think when you have, like, look at how much A.J. Brown is looked at today compared to when he was in Tennessee. Will we not agree? People look at A.J. Brown in a better light today with Jalen than they did with Ryan Tannehill. And Tannehill got to a conference championship game with him too. I mean, I think that's why you had Tyreek Hill kind of throwing small shade at Patrick Mahomes a little bit. Man, my guy is so accurate. He's the best. Yeah, well, Tua Tagovailoa doesn't have the same juice that guy in KC does. Look at Devontae Smith. He's with Jalen Hurts. Now get this. Devontae Adams is with Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know about you, but the public eye is always on Aaron Rodgers, good or bad, which means the eye's on you. And the eye's not on him. That's why he's kicking his feet up right now and kicking dust up, because people are forgetting who he is. All right. Hey, I appreciate it, you guys hanging in there with me, man. Thank you so much. Love storytelling with you guys. You guys are a bunch of fun. Hey, by the way, Seth Joyner tomorrow. Bruce Arians will be with us on Wednesday. We so appreciate you guys coming aboard with us. Thank you to Keith Jones, the new president of operations for the Flyers, and also Gary Cobb for coming aboard. Xander, Big Joe, thank you. Tone, keep up the fabulous work as you do for us here at JAKIB Sports. We thank you so much. Please don't forget tomorrow, 3 to 6 Eastern time, and we'll see you on the flip side.